Hello everyone, welcome to Odisha State Open University. So today we will learn Unit 2 of MA Sociology PSO 102. The title of this unit is Categorization of Tribes in India, that is Primitive Tribe, Adivasi, Vanavasi, Girijan and Adimjati. So let's begin with the course. In this unit, we will be looking at how tribes in India are categorized. So we will also define terms like primitive tribes, Adivasi, what is Vanvasi, what is Girijan, and what is Adimjati. So we will also cover the definition, history, and also the social impact. Now, primitive tribe is an outdated term implying social impact of each of these. So this implies less development, and Adivasi means native, referring to original inhabitant with distinct culture. While on the other hand, Vanvasi are forest dwellers with an ecological connection, and Girijan are the tribes in the hills, in the forest of southern India. So, on the other hand, when we look at Adim Jati, it highlights indigenous tribes' historical and cultural ties to the land. Now, the goal is mainly to understand these categories and why they matter from the perspective of India. Now, by the end of this module, you will be able to distinguish terms, that is primitive tribe, Adivasi, Vanvasi, Girijan and Adim Jati. You will also be able to provide real world examples to illustrate the differences and examine factors, and also explain how ecological, cultural and historical factors shape the tribal communities. And then you will be able to compare Adivasi and Vanvasi and also discuss the use of Adivasi and Vanvasi in political, social and ecological context. So apart from this, you will also be able to access the implication, that is, analyze how this classification impact tribal identity and rights in India. So now let's proceed. So according to Census 2011, India has over 705 scheduled tribes and they make up to 8.6% of total population. So that is about 10.3 million people in India. So it is one of the largest indigenous population in the world, and it is unevenly dispersed across the country, concentrated mostly in the central, eastern, northeastern and also southern regions. Now, the classification of tribes, as the unit title, primitive tribes, Adivasi, Girijan and Adim Jati. This classification represents different tribal identities, their location and also socio-economic status. Now, when we look at the primitive tribes, they are also now PVTs face historical disadvantages. That is, in 1975, shift was observed to the targeted strategies. So PVTs are the small, remote, low literacy subsistence economies, pre-agricultural, tech isolated traditional life, and pre-agricultural technology they rely, that is, in hunting, gathering, farming, small population that is isolated and dispersed. So when we look at Odisha, it has the highest number of PVTs. For example, Bidhor tribe, Dongaria, Kon, Bonda, Jong. So these tribes, they live in the eastern Ghats and they depend mostly on forest. So on the other hand, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they also have this kind of tribes, and the example are Sentinelese, Great Andamanese, Onge, Shompens. They have limited contact with the world and they rely mostly on hunting and gathering. So apart from Odisha and Andaman Nicobar, we also see the prevalence of such tribes in Jharkhand, and the examples are Asurs, Birhors and Mal Parharia. They are known for iron smelting and also forest livelihood. They are found in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. So the examples are Baigas and Kamars. So they practice the shifting cultivation, and they rely on the forest gathering. Even they are found in the Maharashtra, and in Maharashtra they include tribes such as Katkari and Kolam. So they live a nomadic lifestyle and also subsistence farming. While when we look at Adivasi, they are the original inhabitant. The word Adivasi means original inhabitant in Sanskrit, and they are the indigenous tribal communities, that is the earliest settlers. So sociologically, they have been excluded from the mainstream society. So Adivasis, they faced most marginalization due to various issues such as land and even displacement. Now, when we look at from the perspective of anthropology, they are seen as the keepers of ecological knowledge. So, Adivasis, they have unique language and customs that are tied to the nature, and they are excluded from the political and economic process. They are also recognized as a scheduled tribe according to the Constitution of India, and historically they have been marginalized by land dispositions. And when we look from the cultural perspective, they have unique languages and customs that are connected to the nature. Now, looking at vanavasi, it means forest dwellers in Sanskrit. So, ecologically, it highlights the tribal connection to forest. Now, sociologically, when we look at vanavasi, it emphasizes the relationship between tribal communities and also the forest resources. One itself symbolizes, you can understand, one typically means forest. So it shows the relationship of tribal communities with the forest. Now the term has been politicized by groups aiming to integrate tribal communities, while anthropological studies, they focus mostly on the ecological knowledge, forest rituals, and also adaptations of vanavasi. Now deforestation, mining, and industrialization has significantly impacted the livelihood of vanvasis, and ecological identity, rituals, and beliefs adaptations. Now, in terms of Girijan, that is another tribe, it means people of the hills in Sanskrit. So it refers to the indigenous communities of in India. They mostly live in the mountains and forest areas, and they highlight the unique way of life and also in terms of their physical location. They are strongly linked to their ecosystem of hilly areas, and Girijan, they depend on the natural environment for their sustenance. They also practice shifting cultivation, and they also collect forest produce. Artisanal craftsmanship is also one of the features of the Girijan tribes. So when we look at the livelihood and cultural practices, it reflects a deep understanding and respect for the ecological balance. So commonly used in Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, they can be found in these areas. So shifting cultivation is one of the key features of the Girijan tribes. So common agricultural methods in hilly terrain forest are found among these tribes, and also collection of non-timber forest, craftsmanship are also one of the key features of the Girijan. Now, looking at the Adimjati, that is, they are the original people or the indigenous communities. So, it describes India's tribal population as some of the earliest inhabitants. So, the term it itself conveys the historical and cultural identity of these communities. So, it also emphasizes their ancestral connection to their land and the distinct socio-cultural practices. So, Adim Jati communities are custodians of ancient traditions, rituals, and also knowledge system. So, they maintain a symbiotic relationship with nature, with livelihood that is deeply intertwined with the ecosystem. So, the term signifies the distinctness of the tribal groups from non-tribal population, cultural significance, and other areas of their Adim Jati. Now, in this entire unit, we have explored different ways of tribes and the way they are categorized. So, the terms like primitive tribes, Adivasi, Vanvasi, Girijan, and Adim Jati, they all carry different meanings. But Holistically, they are termed as tribes. Now, this classification, they have historical, cultural, and also ecological implications. So, Adivasi, they focus on the indigenous heritage and rights, while primitive tribes, they reflect outdated ideas of socio-economic backwardness. Girijan and vanavasi, on the other hand, highlight the connection to the hills and forest, and Adimjati, on the other hand, emphasizes their status as original inhabitants. So, this is all about this unit, that is a categorization of tribes in India, which we saw various categories of tribes, but they come under one umbrella term, that is a scheduled tribe according to the Constitution of India, and tribes overall. So this is all about the unit 2 of sociology of tribes. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.